Hi, I'm Paris, and I have two teenage daughters that now want to go out into the world and do things on their own. What's up with that? Well, realizing I do have to let them do that, I'd feel more comfortable if they could take something with them that I know would get people's attention and possibly get other people's help should they need some help, since I won't be there to offer that immediate support. So a company contacted me recently, the BASU.com company, and said, we've got a personal alarm device that's different from just about anything else you've seen, rather than something that functions as a weapon or something that you spray or a whistle that you blow. The name says grenade, but actually what it does is when you pull the pin off of this, it releases an explosion of sound, 120 decibel sound. It's called the sound grenade here. The BASU company that now produces this calls it the eAlarm, and there's no way, once the pin is pulled on the top of this, to stop that ear-piercing sound other than to put the pin back in.
EpicReviewGuys.
The sound grenade or eAlarm goes for about $15, and I'll link to it down below this video. Now you might think, well, what happens if by accident, I have this in my pocket, I have it clipped to my bag, the pin gets pulled out and everybody's staring at me with all this sound being created and I can't stop it. Yes, that would be bad. Not as bad as if you were carrying a little thing of mace or pepper spray and it accidentally discharged around other people. So the worst that's going to happen with this is it might be embarrassing and it might annoy some other people, but you're not going to send anyone to the hospital if this goes off accidentally. Also, you can actually take this places. Roxana's going to her first concert, a K-pop concert, next month. And so they check your bag and they check the things you bring into concerts. They check the things you bring onto airplanes when you're going to travel. They don't like those liquid things like mace and pepper spray because it could be used against people in that situation you're going into. This, however, the TSA doesn't have a problem with because, again, you're not going to send anyone to the hospital with it, but you're definitely going to get some people's attention, good or bad, if you pull that pin. Here's the device itself. You can see the size of it. This button doesn't turn it off. It's all about this pin up at the top. You also can't open it up to replace the batteries, which means no one can open it up to take out the batteries either. Also included is this little clip. Clip it onto here. You can clip it onto your bag, clip it onto your keychain. How long will this blare out its sound? 30 minutes continuously or 30 minutes in smaller increments. They do recommend you test it out monthly. I guess like a smoke alarm, pull it and let it make it sound a bit, put the pin back in. If you've had to use it in an emergency situation, it's probably a good idea to replace it. But a cool thing with BASU.com is if you've used it in an emergency, they'll replace it for you for free. You just contact them by email, I guess, tell them what emergency. Now, it isn't necessarily going to be an emergency where there's an attacker and you're using this to draw attention and to make yourself a less attractive target to the attacker. It's also useful with animals that are threatening you. Apparently, it repels bears 81% of the time, which is so funny to me because people have run into bears often enough and tried this that they actually have that kind of a percentage and know that it chases off bears as well as, I think, coyotes. Also, for hiking and camping, if you're to get lost out somewhere, you can use it in short bursts, pulling the pin, putting it back in to create that really loud sound, which will carry much further and go on much longer than you can shouting at the top of your voice. Now, I know you're waiting for me to pull this pin and see how loud it actually is and what it sounds like. And I will do that, but I think not in this room. I imagine it's just going to echo and be so loud in here. So I'm going to go outside and do that and hope I don't get too many of the neighbors saying, "What's he doing now?" All right, here comes the bear. Okay. Prolonged exposure to 120 decibel sound can damage your hearing, so you don't want to have prolonged exposure to it. Hopefully we get people's attention right away. I did notice when I was trying to put the pin back in that it's not just a little straight piece, it's wavy, so you can't even take something like a card and stick it in there to try to silence it. You really do have to have the key for it. I'm tempted to try it for just a second in here. Oh! I'll resist further impulses to explore what it looks like inside. I can tell you that the exterior, though, it's very well put together, so I don't imagine stepping on it with the heel of a shoe is going to break it, or driving over it with a car, though you would think somebody would just drive away at that point rather than continuously drive back and forth over this to try to silence it. So I think it would be pretty effective at doing what it's supposed to do, which is to make a loud sound and get people's attention, or in the case of animals or something, annoy them into just leaving. If you're concerned with the color clashing with your ensemble, the eAlarm does come in different colors, and again, it's about $15. You can find out more about it at the link down below this video. I will see if I can get Roxana and or Jimena to carry this with them, make me feel a little bit better. You can keep checking back for future reviews, or you can click that subscribe button and the bell next to it down below. You'll get notified when my videos go up. See you on the next review.
Epic